everybody. It's Georgia Rose, and I am in the Soul Space. It must be Monday night at 7 o'clock. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. I have to say, the energy has been very fast paced. At least I feel it has anyway. I'd love to hear your comments. And I feel a little hyper, which is not usual for me. I'm usually not a hyper person, but I do feel very, I don't know, giddy lately. It's kind of strange, but I'm enjoying it, so it's good. So I'm just going to put that over there. Okay, so if you know the drill, you guys, share the show. I'm going to do that right now. And then I'm going to look in the comments and see who is on. Here we go. So if you're just tuning in for the first time, I am Georgia Rose. I am a psychic intuitive and an evolutionary astrologer. And every Monday night, I do a podcast called The Soul Space. And we are all part of the Zencuda community, zencuda.com. You can find me on the internet. And what is Zencuda? Well, Zencuda is a lifestyle where we all are on the journey to finding our soul space, thus the name of the show. And we support each other on that journey to finding soul. We're going to talk a lot about that tonight. The show is usually about astrology and spiritual wisdom and sometimes yoga and special guests and tarot cards and all things that help us get in touch with our own soul space. So welcome, welcome. Going to see who's in the soul space tonight. And turn my volume down so I can see you guys. So I do the Soul Space podcast every Monday at 7 o'clock from Strong Island Studios in Massapequa, New York, for those of you who were wondering where I broadcast from. And we've been doing the show for quite a while now, and my producer, Bobby Lacera, is in the house tonight with his assistant, Carmine. And if anybody is interested in coming down to Strong Island Studios on Thursday and Friday nights, we have open jams and all kinds of stuff. So look us up. So very fast-paced energy this week. I will tell you that the astrology for August is extremely intense, more so even than the last few months. And we all know the last few months have been kind of intense. So let me get to my comments. Okay, so I'll give you guys all a little bit of time to pile in. So one of the things I want to tell you guys about is that I have been invited to be a guest on another fellow Lightworkers podcast, my good friend Joanna Garfi McNally. I know some of you know her. She does a podcast called Soul Searcher, and she's asked me to be her guest tomorrow night. I have that on the screen. It is a blog talk radio spot, and she actually is a call-in show, so you can always call in to ask a question. I'll be doing some readings on the show. And also, we're going to be talking a lot about going within, how to find your soul space. Soul Searcher is very much about that energy from within all of us. So tomorrow night, that's June the 30th, and that goes on at 7 o'clock. If you can't find the show, just go on blogtalkradio.com and look for Soul Searcher with Joanna Garfi McNally. She also has a co-host called Kimba Angel Reader. And Kimber and I are not that well acquainted, but I know Joanna for a couple of years. A funny story about networking, and just this is just really about, you know, soul space and the energy of what we attract in our lives. I had a friend of mine whose name was Lois Martin, and she was a numerologist that I knew, and she was on my show, oh gosh, it must be about 3 years ago. And she came on the Soul Space, and she did numerology live on air. Met one of my other very good friends, John Minetta, who's also been on the show. Hey, John, if you're watching. And through Lois, I was asked to be on her show. She used to do this beautiful show on Blog Talk Radio called It's All in the Numbers. And I was on that show several times. And then sadly, about a year ago, a little less than a year ago, Lois passed away. And, you know, all heartbroken about that. And Joanna was somebody that I met through Lois. So you see how when we are really in touch with our soul space and we're on a certain frequency, we just attract other people on the frequency. And it's almost like, you know, 6 degrees of separation. But there's definitely links to people. And so I'm going to be really excited to be on Joanna's show tomorrow night. And I hope you will all tune in and watch, because anytime she and I get together over the airwaves, it's always very magical. So really looking forward to that tomorrow night. So I'm going to look at my comments if I can, because for some reason my comments never come up anymore. Okay. Here we are. Okay. So just if you're out there, say hi so I can see your comments. So Also, something else really exciting happened this week. Not only did I ask to be a guest on Joanna Garfi McNally's show, but finally, drum roll, please, if we have one. My website is done. Yes, the website we've all been waiting for with bated breath is actually done. I can't wait for you guys to see it. And I actually did a little video and a screenshot of my beautiful new website, which the background of is the Aurora Borealis, which I'm going to tell you a story about after you see this. So if we could roll that little video, Carmine, that would be fabulous. This is my new website, zencuda.com. Hi, everybody. It's Georgia Rose from Zencuda, and here is our beautiful new website, zencuda.com. So I want to show you a little bit and give you a tour of this beautiful site that we have. And everything is all in one place now, and you can do everything Zencuda right on our website. So when you log into the homepage, there's a little space here where you can go right to Zencuda Astrology, online classes, or book a reading or coaching session with me. Not only do I offer astrology readings and coaching sessions, but I also do tarot work and all kinds of things to help you get in touch with your own soul space and living Zencuda. There's also a place here where I describe my journey and what it was like for me to actually found the Zencuda community and be able to bring you all of the healing techniques that we do and the philosophies of evolutionary astrology, spiritual wisdom, and yoga. And you can read about what my journey was like. And in addition to that, if you go on to book a reading, you can actually book a reading for any session that you really would like to have. For instance, a 1-hour astrology chart reading, a tarot card reading. I also do synastry chart readings for couples. And I can also do a long distance healing meditation and Reiki session. And you can even purchase our Circle of Light Oracle cards, which were created by myself in order to put healing and light into your day. If you go back up, there's also a space where we're going to be putting our online classes. Those will be very, very soon. If you'd like to be informed about those online classes about astrology and spirituality, yoga, all sorts of things, you can join our wait list and just give us your email and we'll be sure to let you know exactly when classes will be starting. And this button here brings you right to the Soul Space podcast. You can now watch the Soul Space live or past Soul Space podcast right on our zencuda.com page. You can listen to them on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or on YouTube and enjoy every minute and never miss a show. So I hope you'll look at this beautiful website. I'm also writing blogs about my journey, and we're in the process of importing all the older blogs that I've written in the last 5 to 10 years right on our Rose blog page, which is my beautiful blog. And you can, anytime you want, just come in and read all about my own journey to finding Zencuda. If you want to work with me in a small or large group, or book me for reading, or doing a gallery style reading, or a public speaking event, or even a retreat, you can do that on our Work with Georgia page. And hopefully we can help you create your future with some coaching or some astrology workshops. So that is our beautiful zencuda.com site. I hope you'll be on there. We're also developing a space for community on there where you can learn more about astrology and spirituality and all kinds of things, and we can support each other on our beautiful, beautiful journey to finding our own soul space and living Zencuda. So I love that website. I just am really proud of it. And I'll tell you the story about how it came about. So I've been in a mentorship program with a beautiful gentleman from Sweden for a few months. And one of the things I wanted to do in that mentorship program, one of my goals was to be able to have a new website. And I found a girl online. I've been doing everything online and really trying to push the envelope for myself to get a little more techie, which isn't my comfort level. So I found a beautiful woman online. She just happened to be by chance very spiritual in the way she approaches things, and she made this website for me, and we were looking at the designs together, and we were going over the pages. And for those of you who've ever built out a website, it's very, very hard to get a web designer to understand your vision, because they're, it's like left brain, right brain, especially for people like us who are very creative and spiritual, and we're more ethereal. We're not really in the specifics of life. So it's hard to work with people sometimes who are very logical and techie. So met this girl. Her name is Brittany Hardy. She has a business called Empty Desk Solutions. She's from Canada. And she started to build the website out, sent me some things. I thought it was great. Then that weekend, this is going back a couple of months, the aurora borealis was going to be visible from where I live here in New York, which is never heard of. I mean, this far south to have the auroras. So I went to the beach and was sitting in the car for a couple of hours waiting for this aurora borealis to come. I wanted to see it, and I couldn't see it. It wasn't there. We just weren't able to visualize it. The first day it was supposed to be visible. It rained, and then the second night I'm sitting in the car and it's just not coming. So it was cloudy, whatever. So I started to think about, feeling it. And I said, I know this beautiful phenomenon isn't visible to me, but I know it's occurring somewhere in the world and I can feel the energy of it. And maybe this is a lesson to believe in unseen things, just like my work and Zenkuda. You can't see the energy. It's a frequency. It's a way of life. It's out there. It's your soul. It's your soul space. It's a communion with God, really, with spirit, not visible. So I was thinking about that a lot, and that was a Saturday evening, and I was thinking about it a little bit through the weekend. And then Monday morning in my inbox, I have a message from Brittany. And I realized, I didn't respond to her about the design she did. And I opened the message and it said, Georgia, I know you're going to think I'm crazy, but let's scrap everything I've done so far. Saturday night, I was out watching the aurora borealis with my family, and I was inspired to do your website. And I created a whole new look. And that's the look that you guys just saw, where the aurora borealis is actually the background of my home pages. And I didn't ask her to do that. It was a frequency exchange, and it was just so beautiful. My jaw dropped when she showed me the idea for her design, because it had been exactly what Spirit was leading me to, and the intention of my work to help people believe in the unseen and help people believe that just because you don't see it doesn't mean it isn't there. There's energy everywhere. And if we can tap into the frequency of our own joy and our own soul space, then we live our life to our full potential. So it was just a beautiful way the website came on. So as my thanks and my gratitude for all of you being a part of my growth and my soul space and this community that we're creating, I have a freebie for you all. So for anyone who goes on the site, on that page that we just showed you, where it has a place for online classes and a place to enter your own email so that you can be subscribing to our newsletters and our wait lists and things, know what's going on the Zenkuda community. If you subscribe to that, it's completely free right now. Just put your email in. I'm going to send you a video of how you can get a free chart downloaded from astro.com, because I know a lot of you have had trouble doing that, and I'm going to give you that free video. And also there will be some more freebies and discounts for anybody between now and August 1st. We'll take 20% off any readings that you book as well, just for being really founders of the community with me and the Soul Space Connection. So if you're going to book a reading, we'll put a code up tomorrow, and you can book that reading. I'll put the code up on my social media. And anything you want to book will be 20% off. My Oracle cards, if you want to purchase them, will be 20% off. We'll get you a code. So thank you. Thank you. Just such gratitude for the beautiful community that we're creating. So want to talk a little bit about the astrology now. Say hi to some people. Hey, Michelle. I got Cheryl on. I have Marianne Sabatino on. So good night. I find that this time of year, as soon as we start to approach August, the show does drop down on the live feed. So you can always watch the show. Just go on my website, zenkuda.com, go on Soul Space, and you're going to see all of the Soul Space episodes, or links to watch them in Apple or Spotify. So thank you so much, guys, for always tuning in, always supporting my work. You guys know this is the energy that I source my life from. So really important to have this community. So want to talk specifically today about Lionsgate. You're going to hear a lot about Lionsgate. That's the energy where every year around the 8th of August, Lionsgate comes in, and it is an energy where the Earth, the Sun, and Sirius align with Orion and come together. A lot of you will know Lionsgate. It's very familiar with the pyramids, and this happens, in alignment with the pyramids in Giza. It's a very, very mystical and spiritual time. I've in the past done events on Lionsgate, and they've always been really powerful. So what I want to say to you about Lionsgate is it's an energy where you can manifest things, and it's an energy of power. It's an energy of source that will connect you to other realms, off-planet energy, etc. But a lot of times when you look at it in the media, it's kind of hyped up. A lot of influencers will use it as a way to get you to, clicks and clickbait and things like that. Lionsgate isn't just August 8th. It isn't a date. Lionsgate is the approaching of those alignments and then, of course, the moving away of those alignments. And that's in effect, like right now, we're in Lionsgate. It's July 26th through August 12th of every year. And so this year, especially, it's extremely powerful because we are going to have a new moon in Leo on August 4th, right in the middle of Lionsgate. So that's going to be a beautiful manifestation. What you want to manifest with the new moon in Leo, which is happening on August 4th at 12 degrees. So if you have any planets at 12 degrees Leo, and we're going to get you guys to all download your free birth chart so you can follow along on the show. Leo is an energy, we know it's the lion, it's ruled by the sun, it's very powerful, it's fixed fire. So anything that is a fixed fire energy in Leo is very powerful. It's very magnetic, it's very charismatic. My ex-husband was a double Leo, so it was very much like that. He was had very engaging personality. But the opposite spectrum of that is Leos can be very self-centered. They can be a little bit demanding. They like the limelight. They're very validating. They want to have validation all the time. If you know anyone who's a Leo, they like to be petted and told they're wonderful. And when they don't have that energy, they will seek it elsewhere, or they will seek something that gives them validation. Leo is a sign of self-validation. Leo, wherever it falls in your chart, whatever house that's in, is the area of your chart where you are meant to bring something out into the world. Leo is an energy of, the king of the jungle. It wants to perform. It wants to be seen. It's spectator performance. It's an audience type of energy. So a lot of times when we're at Lionsgate time or a new moon in Leo, it's a good time to put yourself in front of people. It's a good time to do a presentation or make a video or do something where you become the presenter. And of course, Leo loves power. In this time of year, oftentimes you'll see power exchanges, power dramatics, things like that. As I said so many times before on the show, the ultimate lesson of Leo, the king of the jungle, is we don't rule by power. Might is not always right. Just because you're louder or stronger, or you can talk faster or run faster, or you're more powerful, doesn't mean you're right or you're the king. Love does. So the power of love is always greater than the love of power. And aren't we seeing that play out now in the United States with our political arena, right? I said it a few months ago when we were looking at the charts of Donald Trump and Joe Biden and the elections and the Democratic and Republican conventions. I said, this is a time when, truthfully, it's really not going to be about politics. If somebody can hustle up a lot of compassion and make the universe compassionate for them, they're probably going to win an election. So it's that compassion play with that beautiful heart of the lion. Leo energy, this new moon on the 4th, is also super good for stepping into your own agency, your own inner authority, and your own sovereignty. It means step out of living an external life, step out of the influences of other people, other things, media, familial relationships, our family of origin. Go into your true community. Go into your tribe, your soul tribe, right? This is Leo energy. It wants you to be colorful and creative and accepted. And that's an energy that we all could probably use a little more of. Leo also is about the creativity you use to run your life. And, what do I mean by that? Well, everyone has a creativity. And a lot of times when we say the word creativity, automatically what comes to mind is like a box of crayons, right? And that is very Leo. It's very colorful energy. But if you think about everything we do and every choice we make is creation, it's creativity. When we are in creation and we are in the action of creativity, we are in communion with Creator, the energy that created all of us. Whatever that is for you, whether it's God or Buddha or aliens or the waters or some kind of source energy, something created you. And when we are being creative, when we're lost in a space, whether that's, in our garden or cooking or, for me, it's writing, doing research in astrology, I'm just in my beautiful creative space and I'm allowing myself to flow free and have this beautiful passion that comes up inside me. When we're in that energy, we are in union with Creator. That's the energy that we have inside of us. That's our spark. That's our soul space. So with a new moon in Leo, we are meant to think about how we use that energy to run our life. What do we do in our life that gives us that source of creativity that truthfully is our liberation and freedom? It's our ability to be who we really are and be in love with that and be feeling strong in that and know that's our foundation. And I think with everything that's going on in the world, being in this energy is so important because there's a lot of chaos and a lot of influencing. And if we can go into the stillness and find the passion of that creativity, it gives us strength to really combat what's true and what's not true, because our real truth is inside us in that creativity. Whenever we're, say, gardening, and if you love to garden, you're out there and you're pulling weeds for hours and you're just, mindless and you're in this space underneath the beautiful sky and the sun and the light, and your mind might wander and you may have some beautiful creative thoughts, or you may just feel relaxed, your energy changes. Maybe you garden, like I just used an example, or maybe you like to go on boating or go skiing or whatever. But when you're in that energy, think about it. That energy is so truthful. It's so pure. It's so strong in, it's real. You know what's real. It grounds you in that. And we're living in a time now where we're ungrounded. We very easily become unbound. That's Neptune in the final degrees of Pisces, that unboundedness. Pisces is an energy of becoming unbound, unraveled. And when we're in that energy of creativity, of our soul space, it gives us the power of our own authority to know what's true and what's truthful. Because we're in a state of communion, of union with the power that created us, which is truth. If we go in that a little more each day, spend 10, 15 minutes in that beautiful place of soul, of our own energy, of our agency, our authority, what will happen is we expand love. Because that is a place of purity. It's a place where there is not conflict. There is not competition. There is not ill will. We're just with ourselves. We're feeling good. We're free flowing. And the more we spend even 10 or 15 minutes in energy like that daily and develop really a spiritual practice doing those things, the more we are equipped to go out into a world where we don't know what's true. We don't know what's real. Everything's just swirling around us. They want us to be fearful and panic. And what are we supposed to do with all this information, right? Constantly in a state of flux. But when we bring the energy of our own stillness, our own creation, our own creativity, and run our lives with that, then what is true and what truth is becomes really, really apparent to us. And that's the energy that we can utilize in this new moon. There's a lot of other energy going on that will support that I'm going to talk about in a minute as well. But that's really the crux of it and the core of it. We've got to develop some kind of spiritual practices where we are in an energy of our own soul space, our own groundedness, our own truth, and our own ability to see our own light and commune with what is real inside us. And take the external world away and be in the internal, our inner landscape, and keep bringing that energy forward in our lives, because that's how we should be running our lives. That's what we should be running on. Not news channels and bad food and craziness and name calling of people who are prominent in powerful positions. And we see not a lot of great examples of that higher energy. So while we can do that every day and just take that little bit of, 10, 15 minutes of energy every day for ourselves, maybe that's even when you go to the gym for you. It's something. It's there. Expand on that, because then you will be so much more equipped, because as this year keeps fluctuating, this year, 2024, up until the end, is going to be very, very intense. What I'm telling you is we are at, and I'm going to clip this video because we are at July 29th, 2024, and I am telling you that very few things are going to be the same in our external world by the end of 2024. We're going to see a lot of major change, a tremendous amount of major change in our societal and in our political activities and in those paradigms. I am telling you that. Why am I saying that? Okay, I'm going to make this as simple as I can because I know a lot of you follow astrology but don't go in deep in it, and that's fine. But I want you to understand. In December of 2020, we had what was known as the Great Conjunction. It was Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto all coming together in the final degrees of Capricorn, headed for Aquarius. Pluto was going to stay in Capricorn for a little while longer, but Saturn and Jupiter were headed for Aquarius. That grand conjunction that happened, it was like a huge thing. You can go back and research it if you want. It like hadn't happened in 1,000 years. That ended energy that was in play for a long, long time because it was those planets came together in that conjunction in Earth energy. And when Saturn and Jupiter left that conjunction and started to go into Aquarius, it was a seeding moment of our future. It was a seeding moment of our future in the societal and political paradigms that were in existence. This is going to be activated again. That point in time, that 0 degree of Aquarius, that futuristic energy, is now going to be activated for the next 2 years when Pluto goes into that degree and leaves Capricorn for the final time. It will be in Aquarius for 20 years, but because of retrogrades, it is going to go over that point of 0 Aquarius 3 times in the next 2025-2026 cycle. Every time it touches that point, you're going to see a major change. Pluto goes into Aquarius on November 19th, right after our elections in the United States and other things that are going on across the world. So right now, during this new moon on August 4th, Jupiter and Saturn square. Now remember, Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto were all together in December of 2020, setting a seeding moment for major change of societal and political paradigms, structures, everything. That's why we've been seeing the world crumble. The square between Jupiter and Saturn, which is occurring now, is known as an opening square. It's taking the energy of that seeded moment from December of 2020 and now bringing it into its opening square. The opening square in astrology of a conjunction like this is that it's now testing what energy was seeded during that conjunction. So whatever happened in December of 2020, this is now going to repeat that energy and ask the question and test it. It's an opening square. It's going to ask, how far have you come? With all the stuff that was going on in December of 2020, we had COVID, we had the racial unsettling in our country, there were things going on across the globe, inflation started to be really rising, right? We had a change of power in the United States that January. All of these things were in play. How far have we come? The opening square is going to press that button again. It's all going to come back. Just today, 3 people told me they got COVID. I was like, I thought we were done with that. This is happening now, the square. Jupiter is at 17 degrees of Gemini. Saturn is at 17 degrees of Pisces in mutable signs. What are the issues going to be? Pertaining to whatever was going on December 20th in our personal lives, December 2020, and in the world 2020, now it comes back to push that button and ask us the same issues, but now it's regarding freedom. Personal freedom, liberation. How far have you come? How are you going to find your freedom? The next square, because remember I said this is going to happen now, this Jupiter Saturn square happens 3 times because of retrogrades. Saturn is retrograde right now. The next date that this happens, the second square, is December 24th. Now, when the second square happens, Pluto has gone into that 0 degrees of Aquarius for the next 20 years. It's going to be in Aquarius. So now Pluto is hitting the seeding moment. Pluto is the transformation. In Aquarius, it's the future. This is about technology, using technology for healing. It's about new ways of doing things. It's pioneering. It's revolution. It's ruled by Uranus, sudden shocking development. The second square is a step in the development of this energy of the tide. It's at the midpoint, 14 degrees now, of Jupiter and Saturn in Pisces. 14 degrees Pisces, 14 degrees Jupiter in Gemini. Look and see if you have planets there. That's happening opposing my ascendant, which means that I'm going to have a lot of change in the way I appear to the world and who I am becoming. And I've been working on that even with these beautiful Zenkuda projects that we're doing. And then the third and final square is the completion of the Jupiter-Saturn energy. It's not the completion of that Uranus, Pluto, Jupiter grand conjunction from 2020. That energy is going to be with us a long time. But it's now the culmination of these squares, which is a conversation of tension. So now in June 15th of 2025, it's the completion. That's why I say right now, as we approach that August mark where this is all happening, the first opening square is August 16th. The world's going to get a jolt and the energy is going to start going. And then again on December 24th, Christmas Eve, and then June 15th, 2025, boom, boom, boom. I guarantee you the world's going to be really different by December, by next June, and your personal life's going to be really different. So the questions are, how far have you come? What are you doing to live in your own authority and your own agency? How are you reaching your full potential as a human being with humanity, living your soul's potential? What needs to end? What needs to complete? Where in your life can you come into a space where now the things that have been revolving and revolving and revolving in your life, the themes, the things that you have the inability so far to change, where can you find the ability to change them and evolve them instead of revolving around them and revolving around them? You know, maybe it's things with your family of origin. Maybe you need to step out of that energy for a while so that you can go back to it with a different set of energetic frequency. I had to do that in my own life, you know. For about a good 4 years, I was very, very separated from my family of origin because I knew I had to end the energy in order to go back with a new energy and a new way of doing it. Maybe it's your career. Maybe you need to step out from behind something that is restricting you in a way career-wise. Maybe it's your religion and your beliefs. Maybe it is something that has been making you diminished in your life and not feel like you are able to do your full potential. But whatever it is, it really came into play in December of 2020 or around that time. And now it's been rearing its ugly head ever since, and you need to do it. It could also be projects that you were enlightened at that time. I remember watching that beautiful conjunction with my telescope down by our local bay with a very, very good friend of mine. And I remember feeling the energy that night and knowing that I was going to be stepping into my soul's potential and take Zenkuda and my content and build a community that I really wanted to use to change the world and change my own way that I see the world and myself, and be able to step into my own authority and do the work I was brought to this planet and incarnated to do. Not in a grand gesture like I'm anything special, but just making sure my life is well used. You know, coming from a place of love whenever possible and not being manipulated into a fear-based mentality. And I remember that was a seeding moment for this. And now here we are almost 4 years later, and Zenkuda has just grown and grown. I'm doing readings for people all over the world. And I have even been able to step into a place where I've been able to be mentored by people that I didn't even know in 2020 and learn some of their spirituality and their belief systems and incorporate it into what's true for me. And so I can honestly say that in the last 4 years, I've done a tremendous amount of evolution and just like activity. Like when I look back at the last 4 years, so much has happened. It's been really, really interesting. And I really would love to hear your stories, because I will bet anything that many of you have had the same type of things happening for you. And it's just such a beautiful, beautiful place to be. So take this energy of the new moon. August is going to bring up all of the December 2020 energy that we had going on in our lives. Maybe there was something significant that happened for you, or maybe it was just like a little moment of enlightenment. But take that energy and use it to propel your life forward on a trajectory that's really meaningful for you. Because I think that's where we're all at, is we need to step into things that are meaningful for us and step out of the things that aren't meaningful anymore. And maybe that's something completely different than what it would have been 4 years ago. The other major thing that I wanted to talk about was there will be conflict in August, a lot of what is true and what is not true. You know, the media energy is just going to go through the roof. It's going to become almost like a percolator. And that's why I think it's so important for us to do our spiritual practices and have that beautiful energy of our foundation and our soul space. But the two things that are going to add to that are, number one, we have Venus in Virgo for the month. And Venus in Virgo, we have a lot of Virgo energy this month. And Venus in Virgo is an energy of perfection and imperfection. So what Venus in Virgo is going to do is make us want the truth, want things to be perfect, and get a little agitated when they're not. Virgo energy is hypercritical. It's the way we even speak to ourselves hypercritically. Virgo energy is really meant to teach us our competency through loss. Typical Virgo energy is you have a loss in your life of a person or a thing or an illusion. You know, you suddenly see someone for what they are. And in that moment, something inside you maybe just kind of like dies a little bit, or something inside you just like, you know, it's like, wow, I really see the light now. I never saw this before. And how many of us have had so many moments like that in our life? And that's a loss, right? It's like a loss of innocence. But it happens to bring us to our competence. That loss of innocence brings us to our liberation eventually, because the illusion is no longer there. That's Virgo. Virgo is competence through loss. We have to find our way. We have to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps, or realize, wow, I've been looking for something or depending on something that really never was. It was always just something I kind of thought was there, or I believed in, or I never thought this was going to happen, but it did. And you know what? In the long run, it's better, because now I know my own competency. That's Virgo energy. And this month, that's going to come into play with Venus in Virgo. So it can make us very hypercritical, because when we're in illusion, our inner self is trying to tell us that's not really true. You know, look at this, this is, and it keeps poking us. And sometimes when we resist it, that's where our criticism comes in. It's like, you know, you have a crack in the driveway, but you want a beautiful driveway. But every day you go to get in the car and you look at that crack and you're like, damn, this driveway, why is that cracking? Why is that cracking? But it's really a beautiful driveway. Well, no, it's not. It's got a crack. You got to look at it. And the universe is going to keep making you hypercritical about it, because it's trying to tell you something. The other reason why there's a lot of Virgo energy right now is because Mercury goes retrograde right near this new moon in Leo. And Mercury retrograde is in Virgo. So there's a lot of Virgo energy, but there's also this Mercury retrograde. It's super powerful, because Mercury retrograde in Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So now it's in a home sign where it's super powerful, retrograded. And also we've got Jupiter in, which is a planet that expands everything, in Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury. So they're speaking to each other. So it's like a triple whammy of Mercury energy, and Mercury's retrograde. So the conversation that's happening in the sky is, let's make everything glitchy. Let's make everyone hypercritical. Let's make everything a delay, doing it twice, a do-over, right? Because Jupiter in Gemini is duality, it's doing everything 2 times. So this month is going to be a little bit annoying. And you don't be surprised if you end up going back to the drawing board a lot and redoing and recycling and reinventing. Why does the universe bring us this energy? The universe brings us this energy so that we pay attention. When things get really glitchy or I had so many computer problems this weekend. I couldn't even begin to tell you guys. Like literally, I had to learn 11 new forms for my business and do a presentation on them. And my printer took a crap, and my internet went out. So I just said, okay, I can stamp my feet and whine and cry and throw myself on the floor, which I really felt like doing. But instead, I was like, okay, use the phone as a hotspot and call Amazon same day delivery and get a damn printer. So that's what Mercury retrograde and this energy wants from us. It wants us to dig in, be logical. Mercury is a very mercurial, logical planet. It wants us to focus so that when the glitch comes, we're prepared. Check the travel things twice. Check the computer's working. Make sure it's plugged in. Make sure your batteries are charged, etc. The other thing with Venus in Virgo is there's a great time, believe it or not, to focus on health. Go back to the gym, your well-being, do all your doctor's appointment, start a fitness regimen, because Venus in Virgo will be very focused on your health. The other thing I want to say in this energy, and I know this for those of you who are financial and watch things, you can't make this stuff up because it's just us above, so below. What's ever happening in the sky is always happening in real life. So one of the things that's happening right now is before Venus goes into Virgo, which will do more towards the middle of the month. Right now, Venus is in Leo, and it's squaring Uranus in Taurus. Now I know that sounds like Chinese to some of you, but what it means basically is it's a conversation of tension between fixed energy, and Taurus energy is being aspected by Mars right now. Mars is action. And when I read the chart and I see this, Venus in the final degrees of Leo headed to Virgo, squaring Uranus in Taurus, fixed energy, this is banking. It's currency. And believe it or not, folks, it's precious metals. And so this being aspected by Mars is almost like something's going to happen in the financial markets that's going to create an upset, but the meaning of it is all about freedom and restriction. And I think that a lot of illusions that have been taking place, a lot of shell game, what's real and what's not, to do with financial markets worldwide, some of those things are going to be revealed in the next few months or the next very little while. It's about our relationship with money also, and what we think is valuable and what is really valuable. This is almost like Mercury, especially when it's retrograded and this powerfully retrograded with this energy of Venus squaring Uranus and currency and banking and precious metals and Mars action. This is Mercury the trickster. This is an energy of what you see is not what you get. What you thought was never that. And the things that you thought were stability are like quicksand. That's really how psychically I'm reading the chart. So do what you got to do to be safe and stable. Do your spiritual practices. Put yourself in places where you know what's real and what's not real. And you know what is really the way that we have to be in our lives in order to have personal happiness, personal stability, abundance, and all those things. So I'm going to check my comments now. My screen was frozen. See, I was talking about technical difficulties, and there I was having some. Okay. So let me go to my comments, which I can never see lately. Here we are. Okay. Today I would appreciate cards read, a lot of encouraging energy. Okay, Kim, I'm going to pull a card for you really quick. Yes, I'm going to be on Soul Searcher tomorrow, Pauline, with Joanne Garfey McNally. That is on Blog Talk Radio, and you just go on blogtalkradio.com. We have it up on the screen now. Her call-in number, for those of you who wanted to jot it down, I can't see it right now because I have a camera blocking that, but if you are looking at your screens at home, there's a call-in number. I'll be on the show from 7 to 8:30 tomorrow night, Tuesday, June 30th. We're going to talk all kinds of things. I'll be reading cards on the show there, so better than right now because I'm going to run out of time. Kim, if you want cards, tune into Soul Searcher tomorrow night on Blog Talk Radio with myself, Kimba Angel Reader, and Joanne Garfey McNally. So health is wealth, Pauline says. Yeah. Oh, see, Cheryl says that happened to her too. I am good. Thank you, Elaine. Oh, I'm glad you love it. You have to put your email in there so you get all our stuff. And Pauline says, budget not able by deadline. Oh, that's okay, Pauline. Just give me a call. Thank you. I love the website too, guys. I'm glad that you see it. Pauline says, people reveal who truly are shadow, though not on pedestal, more who I am sovereign, no longer worship outside me, but wow, I'm not so inferior. Exactly. I think what she's trying to say in Paulinese is, is I think what's being revealed to a lot of us is our own inner strength. And, you know, I can only talk sometimes from personal experience, but I've had a lot of people in my life that diminished me and, you know, criticized me and made me feel not so great. I don't have a lot of those people in my life anymore. And that's, you know, kudos to me. I didn't do it with malice. I did it with love. And I just, you know, I love myself more than I do certain people that are going to be detrimental to me. And what I found was when I have that strong foundation, those people that you really can't be away from, that you have to interact with that are like that, they don't really bother me so much anymore because I pretty much know who I am and I function from that. Yes, see, Pauline says, when I talk about the astrology, doesn't sound like Chinese to her. Can you put up the Soul Searcher info again just for a moment if you're still in the booth, Carmine? They just want to see it again. So there you go. I'm going to be on Soul Searcher tomorrow night. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. As a matter of fact, I think that's going to be a really powerful show because I was having a conversation with Joanne today. Kimba called me last night. I apologized to Kimba. I was actually cooking dinner when she called and I couldn't reach out to her again yet last night. But Joanne and I had a conversation tonight, and one of the things we were talking about was how like-minded our show themes are, because our shows are really about going within and finding that space that I talked about tonight and not being so, pushed around and led by the external. Like I've said so many times and almost on every show, I never want to be an influencer. To me, that's a dirty word. I don't want to influence anybody. If I can inspire somebody and be an inspirational being, that's my label, if there is one. So that's what I'd like to do for all of you. So I think that is the soul space for us tonight. And again, freebies to you guys. If you go on the Zencuda.com website and you put in your email to be, on our lists for any new online classes, I promise I won't haunt you or send you spam. This month, we are going to have 20% off any readings for you until September 1st. And also, anybody who signs up for the wait list and the newsletter, we are going to send you a free video on how to download your own personal birth chart for free on Astro.com. So thank you so much for visiting with me in the soul space tonight. I had fun. Hope you guys did too. Next week, I'll be back here in the soul space. And don't forget to subscribe to Zencuda.com. Like me on Facebook at Zencuda Soul Space. And you can find me on Instagram at Zencuda Official. And if you have an idea for anybody you want to see on the show or any subject you want me to do, drop me a line in any of those places and I will definitely make it happen. Thank you guys. Have a great week. Stay safe and definitely remember to do your spiritual practices. And I'll be back here in the soul space Monday night at 7 o'clock. I am Georgia Rose, your evolutionary astrologer. Good night, everybody.
All right. Is everybody having a good time tonight or what? That's what I thought. All right, so we are live, Paradise Studios, New York. Give yourself a round of applause for coming out tonight. Woo!